Hello you, a very warm welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Amber and today I'll be showing you how I painted this citrusy orange cocktail using alcohol markers, coloured pencils and a little bit of gouache. So starting off, I am working in the Ohuhu marker sketchbook today, and I had a few intentions for this piece actually. One was to practice my perspective and sketching, and the sketching part took so long that I decided not to include it all in this video because it would have been about a 30-minute long video and I didn't really want that. So yeah, I started the sketch off and then I thought I'd just finish it off, a few finishing touches before going in with the markers. I really am trying to work on my perspective and the way I see shapes and stuff with my art at the moment, so this was a really good exercise. I actually just loved the way this picture come out so much. It was a challenge, but a good challenge, and I learned a lot. So I hope you learned something. I hope you all had an absolutely wonderful Christmas. I'm doing the voiceover for this on the 18th, so by the time this video comes out, Christmas will be all over and done with, and we'll still have the New Year's to go. But I hope you all had a lovely time and maybe got some nice new art supplies. I'm hoping that that's what I'll get. Before I go into any of the art talk, I do want to apologise for the lighting on the first part of this video. It does sort itself out about 3 minutes in, but I'm not sure why the lighting was like this. Maybe because I had my head halfway in the frame and it couldn't focus properly on the drawing, or because of the candle. Yeah, I'm not so sure, but it does sort itself out. So getting back to my intentions for this piece, so one of the biggest things I wanted to test myself with is to not use as many coloured pencils. I do use them, but I wanted to be a little bit more mindful of my brush strokes and blend in the actual markers that I've got, just to see what I can do with them. And as I've said in my last couple of videos about having the 48 set of the Ohuhu markers, it definitely challenges you to try and like blend different colours together and just experiment with the colours that you've got. So the one good thing about this set is it's got a lot of nice oranges and yellows and reds. So this was a really perfect subject to draw for the set of markers that I've got. This picture is also for the 12 days of Artmas Instagram art challenge, and yep, the prompt is citrus, so I thought what better thing to do than a nice citrusy cocktail. The reference photo is from Unsplash, so I'll link the link to that below so you can download it if you like and also have a go. It was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do more cocktails after this. I think one of my favourite things to draw is reflections in anything, and yeah, I definitely want to do and practice with more of that. I think while I'm on the subject of that, I'd like to talk a little bit about something my husband said the other day, which made me think a lot actually. So when I'd finished this piece, I showed him. I was so excited, like, look what I've done, look, in alcohol markers, something new for me, etc. And he was like, oh yeah, that's really good, but I expected something maybe a little bit more. Like, oh wow, that's so good, Amber, well done. But no. And when I questioned him on it, he said, well, I just think still life is boring. Still life is not for me. And so that hurt me a little bit, to be honest, just for a moment, because when you create something, you want the ones you love to be like, oh yeah, well done, that's amazing, which my mum was. And like when I posted it on Instagram, all my artist friends, like everybody thought it was good. And that was like a much nicer reaction. But it just made me think how you've got to draw and paint or create whatever you want to do, whatever you want, whatever brings you joy, and not draw or paint or create whatever brings everybody else joy around you, even if it's the people that you really love and want to love your art. And yeah, I suppose I just wanted to say that because it makes, when somebody who you love is like, oh yeah, great, like, but a bit boring, like a boring subject, it makes you question, well, why do I even want to do this then? Why? I don't know if this is just me. You'll have to let me know whether you feel like this sometimes. But yeah, it makes me think like, oh, well, why am I wasting my life drawing boring subjects? But I had a good think about it and I thought, well, the thing with still life is for me, I don't just like drawing still life. I like to draw everything. I think I've come to terms with that recently, is I haven't really got a style or a medium that I stick to. I just love everything. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this channel. But I was thinking, why do I love still life? And almost like I had to explain it to myself. But when I had a good think about it, I thought it was interesting. And that is the reflections, the colours, the shapes, the perspective, the way everything works together. I just love that. I know it sounds like the most boringest thing that one could enjoy drawing, but oh, just the way the colours work together, the mixing of the colours, you know, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you already understand what I'm trying to say. But I just think it's so important to draw and paint what brings you joy. What is it about what you draw that brings you happiness and brings you joy? Do you like to just colour, sit down and colour? That's something I've been doing recently. I thought I'd like to get to know colours a little bit better and which colours work well together. And so I bought a colouring book, and that's something that I didn't think, you know, that egotistical artist. I'm an artist. I don't need a colouring book. I can make my own colour, like my own lines to colour in, you know. But yeah, I bought a colouring book and I've been really enjoying just sitting, relaxing, colouring in and not having to think about anything else. Is that what you enjoy? Do you enjoy colour? Do you enjoy bold shapes? Do you enjoy abstract painting? Do you enjoy mixed media, seeing what materials go together nicely? There's just so much about art that is not just the subject as well. God, I'm going in a totally different direction than I even planned for this video. I hope you don't mind. I feel like I can come on here and sort of brain dump what I've been thinking to you guys, because I know if you're watching this, then you already understand what I'm saying, probably. So getting back to this actual artwork, I am just building layer after layer after layer. With the leaves, I was starting off with the darkest colours first and then building up some lighter ones, but I'm still not quite sure what the best way to use alcohol markers is, so I'm just practicing and practicing, and I'm sure I'll come to terms with it. Every video you watch, people say something different. One video says you should start with your darks, one video says you should start with your lights, and you know, you've just got to practice for yourself and see what works for you. I've also got these Cass Art alcohol markers that I've had for a while and I never use because they've got the bullet and chisel tip, whereas I do really like that nice brush tip on the Ohuhu markers. But I think I had the I try and talk so fast that I can barely get my words out. I've got the black bullet tip marker, what I just used to get some really, really tiny dark details in. And now for the scary part, which is working on the base of this glass. I just took it very, very slow. I've got this video sped up 15 times, so this took so much longer than it seems, obviously. But I'm just going in with each colour that I think I can see and not worrying too much, because I know that I can fix things with the pencils later on, but I did want to try and be much more mindful with the brush strokes and the colour placement. Considering I've never really been good at perspective before and just sort of sketching my own line art without tracing, I can't believe how I managed to get this look in. Like, it's got a lot of depth, to be honest. As I was at this stage, I was getting a little bit like, oh God, I don't know how this is going to look when it's finished. But I think that after I put some lights back in with the gouache at the end, it really brought it all to life. I was trying not to be scared of just going in with dark colours, because in the reference image there is a lot of dark colours in these reflections, and when you're drawing glasses and stuff, you've got to make sure to put the colours in of the things around it, so you can see that there's the blues in there, in that glass at the base of the glass. There's blues in it, there's purples from the table, there's oranges still, so there's a lot to think about, but it's all about that process, isn't it? Just one small section, one small area at a time. And now I'm going in with my pencils. I pretty much just picked a really small amount of pencils and just fixed the areas that I felt needed fixing, like these leaves. And then you'll see where the glass touches the fruit bowl, I messed it right up, that back bit, but just with a white pencil in a moment, it does sort it right out. So far, I think the Luminance, the Caran Dache Luminance, work the best over the top of the markers. I think probably any really waxy pencil would do the same, but I'm loving these pencils on the markers at the moment. Another thing I really love about this piece is that it's not perfect. It really isn't. The proportions are quite a lot off actually to the reference photo. The glass is not perfectly round. The base is not perfectly accurate to the top of the glass. The fruit bowl is not perfect. Like, none of it is perfect, but I think that adds so much character to a piece rather than a complete true representation of the photo that you're drawing, if you know what I mean. I used to do just realistic art, and the more realistic and perfect and accurate that I could get something, the better. But now I really love the little mistakes here and there and the little subtle shifts what are different from the reference photo to the drawing. It just brings so much character to it. And just add in a few details to the actual glass now. And here is my trusty gouache. I've just got the little bit of paint on my palette and I keep it on my desk, so whenever I need to add white highlights to anything, it's there ready to go. And just add in a few sparkles here and there where I see the lightest highlights on my photo, and I really think it just finishes it off and brings it all to life. I feel like if I really wanted to, I could have made it even more special by adding a little bit of yellow gouache or a little bit of blue, maybe like a really light baby blue or a lemon yellow, instead of going in with just white, because it adds so much more depth if you add a few more colours to it as well. But another point of the whole sketchbook thing that I'm trying to do is to not spend too much time on any piece in particular, and as soon as I feel like I'm finished, just move on to the next one. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this piece. The voiceover part went in a bit of a different direction than I expected, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something either from anything I've said or just watching me create this piece, painting, drawing. I'm still not sure what to call it yet when we work with alcohol markers, so I think painting. But I hope you have a lovely New Year's, and I shall see you for my first video of the year next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a comment, a like, maybe even subscribe, and yes, that is it. Bye.